Long time no see. I know it's been like 5 months since my last video. A lot has happened, and as the title says, yes, I left Japan and I moved back to America. And yeah, let me explain. I spent 2 years in Japan. I thought I'd be there for a lot longer, but we go where life takes us. And in my opinion, for my circumstances, Japan was perfect. It was amazing, incredible. Uh, Literally, there was no downsides. Nothing bad happened. I never had a single bad interaction. It was perfect. Um, there are issues. Every country has issues. People like to nitpick at Japan just because they do a lot of things right, but it's not made for everyone. It was just for my circumstances. It was perfect. And I left because I wanted to further my career. I finished my bachelor's degree in graphic design right before going to Japan. And right now, I'm like really close to finishing my master's degree. I think I have like 6 months left. And I want to slowly get into graphic design. I'm going to find some other full-time position and then do graphic design on the side, get some experience and see where that takes me. I want to work remote. I need to work remote. I was doing too much traveling while I was in Japan. I don't drive, commute times are long, so I just needed to come back to get the job situation addressed and move on from there. Um I I I was making decent money in Japan, especially for like Japan standards. But it wasn't enough for me. I like the finer things in life. I like to splurge, I like to buy, I like to travel, so it just wasn't quite enough to allow me to do all that, which is just another reason I wanted to come back, get a good high paying remote job and go from there. Um so I've been back for about 3 months now. I in that time I was doing a lot of relaxing. Um I can't remember a time when I wasn't working. Um, Ever since high school ended, I got a job and I've been working. Sometimes it was part time, but yeah, I've been really enjoying my time off. I went to Magfest. That was awesome. I highly suggest to anyone that lives on the East Coast of the United States. It's an amazing video game convention and it's so much fun. And I will be going every year. Every year. I've been applying for jobs nonstop. I have a list of things I require the job to give, and I'm a little picky, but it's been tough. I think I looked on my list of applications. I've applied to like 70 different jobs, and there was only one single job that I had 3 rounds of interviews for, but then didn't get it. It hurt. But I'm looking for $20 an hour minimum in the United States, on the East Coast. That's a comfortable wage for me, especially with my partner, dual income. So $20 an hour. I want it to be remote, and actually, that's kind of it. And believe it or not, it's tough. There's tons of jobs out there, but they're all very, very, very picky. So I've been tailoring my resume different ways, experimenting, and just applying and seeing where it takes me. one particular job I applied for recently I'm very excited about. We'll see if they reach out. But I can't do anything until I get a job and have income. So until then, I'm relaxing, doing my part-time online college classes, and that's it. Let's see. I never talked about my jobs in Japan, so I will do that now. I had 2 jobs in Japan in 2 years. The first job I was only at for 6 months, and I had to leave. That was working at an eikaiwa, which is an English conversation school. Typically, they're open from like 2 p.m. to 9 p.m., something like that. It's for like after school, after work kind of people. And all ages, children, old adults, of all varying levels of English. They are very by the book, textbook. You have to adhere to the textbook. That's it. There was one-on-one lessons. There were group lessons, and the actual job was fine. I loved my students. I loved my coworkers. I was blessed with really incredible coworkers, but I mentally couldn't handle talking for 8 hours every day. It was actually destroying my soul. My whole life, I've kind of had jobs that were very not super customer facing, I guess. Minimal. Like, I spent 5 years working overnight at a hotel, and you don't encounter that many people. And then I worked at a call center where there were calls, but you're not getting more than 10 to 15 calls a day. So this was just a huge, like, turn in the other direction. And it was a lot of interaction with people. And it was very, like, overwhelming. And you're not just talking to people all day. You are adjusting the way you speak for every single person. And you're thinking about what you're going to say before you say any sentence. It's so mentally exhausting. And I couldn't do it. 6 months in, I like broke. I was like inconsolable, just sobbing on my way to work. Couldn't do it. So I looked at all kinds of options. Do I get a student visa? Do I just leave? Do I find another job? Basically, the best option was to just find another job, and I did. I applied for a couple different things, and very quickly, I found a job that snatched me up. We interviewed, and like it was a 5-minute interview, and that was it. It was like I was hired. So I was actually a little skeptical at first, a little iffy. They sent me the information about the contract. I signed it, and there we are. So I was working, the second job was working as a traveling English teacher around the Nagoya area. I traveled directly to students' houses, did the lesson, would go to another student's house. So there was a lot of commuting, and that's another reason why I want a remote job now, because that was exhausting. I liked it, but it was kind of exhausting. And during these commute times, you could do whatever you wanted. You could go eat, you could go shop, which I did a lot, and just fiddle around on your phone, sit in a Starbucks, anything. Those moments between lessons were like the mental break I needed. And the pay per lesson hour was very, 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 very high. To compensate for the cost of travel and the time you're spent traveling. The only thing that was kind of unfortunate is it did take a long time to build up that client base. They started me out with like maybe two or three families. So there were weeks where I only had one lesson, two lessons. But they did have a minimum monthly pay. So even though I only had one or two lessons, I was still getting, I want to say, how much? It was like 65,000 yen a month. I don't know what that translates to, like 400 or 500 US dollars. And like, no, that's not a lot. Um, but in Japan, it's kind of enough. Like my monthly rent was 400 US dollars, and then my utilities, and I had like tuition refunds coming in from going to school online. Um, so that was like money that I used to supplement my income. So after a year and a half, like I had a really solid roster of students. Most days you only had like, I would say on average 3 lessons. And I think there was one day I had 4 lessons, like every other week. That's a long day. Like, you're from the time I left the house to the time I got back, it was like at least 10, 11 hours. So that's a long day. But I feel like I really experienced Japan through this job. I don't think I would have, Japan wouldn't have had such an impact on me if it wasn't for this job. I got to go into students' homes. I got to see how a Japanese family acted around each other, and the lessons were not like textbook. They were very open. It's just they promoted learning English in like a natural environment. So we would go on walks, cook, play games, color, do crafts, talk about what they did last weekend, what vacations they want to go on. And you really learn so much about the students and the family. And it was amazing. I saw some incredible homes, some breathtaking apartments. Um, a lot of these people, they had very good money to afford to have someone come to their home to teach them an English lesson. So all the families, so giving. Gift giving is huge in Japan. Everyone wants to give you a gift. I was receiving so many like food and snack gifts. When like several times I just got big bags of fruit. So I thought that was so nice. It was so much fun. I really enjoyed talking to a lot of these students about their life. And it it just showed Japan in such a completely different light. Um, it you really were able to take in all of the culture, and then I just learned so much about Japanese culture and customs through these students. Um, like just I had a student telling me about like how a Buddhist would do like a burial ceremony, and so many really interesting things. I I was so grateful. I can't explain how grateful I was to have found that job. It was I I think that job would be tough for somebody who is living there full time and that's their sole income. Maybe if you're like a student living in a super cheap dorm, this would be a perfect option. You could do early morning, early afternoon classes and then do this job after. Uh it, it was so nice. So I highly recommend traveling teaching. It's awesome. Uh Now let's see. I after being back in the United States for 3 months, I realized I all the things that I thought I would miss about the United States was my mind playing tricks on me, because now that I'm back, there's really nothing. Um, I was just surprised, like, wow. I went to New York a few times, and every time I go, it's like, wow, Nagoya City was kind of like better. Nagoya was such a good place to live. I know a lot of tourists won't bother going there, but when you live there, it had everything you could possibly want without all the tourists. So it felt like Japan, like a big city Japan with a very minimal amount of foreigners. I know that's like ridiculous, me as a foreigner saying that, but I wanted to really feel like I was in Japan. So you go to Tokyo and there's so many foreigners there. I went to Kyoto a couple times, and every time it's just it felt off. I really didn't vibe with Kyoto at all because of how much was geared towards tourists and how many tourists there were and how crowded it was. I really prefer smaller places. But I was so excited coming back to America about all the food I was going to eat. And I found that, wow, American food's kind of gross. I like everything is so disappointing and gross. Japan just had consistently really, really good, high quality, cheap food. Delicious. And everything here in America is also too sweet for me. Everything. Everything. Dunkin' Donuts was my favorite. Disgusting. Disgusting. It's actually quite depressing, and it just made me realize how much I really didn't like love Japan. Um if I do want to go back. If I go back, it would be probably just for like 1 to 3 months a year on a tourist visa, so I can keep working remote and then just live there for a short period of time. And I'll do that for a few years. And if I get the feeling like, wow, I could really actually live here again permanently, then I'll explore that. I think what I would do is have me and my partner go there on a student visa. Go for the bare minimum amount of classes to still keep the visa and live in a dorm, and then just work remote. I think it would only be one class a day, 5 days a week. Easy. Easy. And then that, if you go all year round, you get to stay in the dorm all year round, and then you can still graduate in 4 years. And then my partner would have a bachelor and they could sponsor my visa. I can still work remote and they can do teaching because they loved teaching. Me, not so much, but they loved it. That's an option. That's actually what I've been thinking about recently, is all the options that we have on where we can move, what we can do. I knew things would be getting bad coming back to the US with the new presidency. I was prepared. Didn't think everything would escalate and like move as fast as it is, but it's not so good. Not so good. So I'm still looking for a job. So once I get a remote job, once my partner's working remote, then it's just like, okay, where are we gonna go? Because no children, no pets, just us, dual income. We can go anywhere. So that's just exciting, knowing that the options are there and we can do anything. Let's see. On the way back from Japan, we visited South Korea. I love Korean boys love comics way too much. I love Korean food. I love K-pop. I love K-dramas. I thought that would be enough for me to really enjoy being in Korea. But I was there for 3 days and I didn't like it. I didn't like it. All the food, the random food places we went to were just not good. In Japan, we could go to random food places and it's immaculate. But the food places we went to were not good. It felt kind of like Koreatown, New York City, and I just wasn't into it. All of the little events I wanted to go to end Sunday. Like, they're only open for the weekend, so we were really out and about on Monday and everything was just done, and it's like, oh, F me, I guess. uh the only way I would go back is if I had someone there with me to kind of plan to take me to cool places. um I know Americans can be rude, but South Korea was kind of crazy. We were sitting at the airport. We were sitting waiting to board our flight, and a guy sits down next to us, rips the biggest fart. Brother did not even flinch. This was like a normal day for him of doing this. And then waited a few more minutes, got up and left. I was like shocked. It was so loud. Like, if there are open areas of the airport, you could go somewhere else and fart. He sat next to us. It was insane. Got some cute stationery though. Which brings me to my next point. We shipped 18 boxes via Yamato shipping service. Makes it a lot cheaper to just ship everything in bulk. And then anything that couldn't fit in those boxes, we shipped via Japan Post at our local post office, which was a nightmare because they want to know exactly what's in each box. And they're just like, oh, what's this? What's this? What's an anime toy? Does it have batteries? Does it have glue? We finally got everything. 18 boxes from Yamato, 10 boxes from Japan Post. And so everything is in my mom's basement. It's sitting there. I so desperately want a job so that we can get our own place and I can unpack. Goal is to buy a house regardless of where we end up moving because we can rent it out. Goal is to buy a house so I can at least unpack everything into one room, rent out another room. I miss my things so much. I'm a material girl. I miss my things. I want to look at everything I bought in Japan. Ugh. I dug through some things and like took out all the snacks I squirreled away. But that's really it. It's such a relief to have all of those things back. Oh, let's see. Planned videos. Honestly, I've tried to film this video a few times and every time it just didn't pan out. So hopefully this one's fine. And I've been really struggling with sitting down and filming a video. Like, I'm just laying in my bed in my mom's attic where I'm staying temporarily. I have like a hospital bed, like a wheelie desk. It's not an ideal scenario. It makes it really difficult to film. And I have had no motivation to do so. But even just putting on this like background Ragnarok music, I was like so inspired and so comforted, like, oh, I should really make videos. And I do want to. For those, I'm sure most people here for Ragnarok online videos, but I've had a very on and off relationship with Ragnarok Online, where I would go hard, played for a while, and then stop for a while. So that's what this past five months have been. Me just stopping, trying to find the inspiration to keep going. The last video I made, I was starting like a new cash shop thing, and I have enough footage recorded for like two more of those videos, like each an hour each. So that's something I really want to get done, and then I'll get back to playing again. And then maybe some other chill videos. I was just thinking about compiling information online about the history of certain dungeons and towns, making like a chill little video where I read to you. Things like that. There are videos about Japan that I want to make. For example, when I rented my own apartment without the help of anyone else, no company apartment, nothing. I did it myself. It was difficult, it was confusing, but I have it down, and I feel like there was so much information I wish I had known and someone could have given me. And I want to make just a comprehensive guide on how to do it. Because I wish I had that. I'm the type of person who needs a step-by-step guide to follow, and I think I can now provide that. So that's just another video I want to make. Eventually, I'll do like a stationery tour of all of the stationery I bought in Japan. So slowly those will still trickle out. But I do want to find other things to film videos of. Right now, I beat the first dot hack game. The first four of the dot hack games for PS2, dot hack infection. I just beat that, and now I'm working on mutation, dot hack mutation. I love those games, but I just don't think it'd be very entertaining for me to record myself playing. So, we'll see. We'll see. I think that's it. Wow. I think that's it. So, I will really try to motivate myself to get some other videos uploaded. Sorry I've been gone for so long. I'm here. I'm well. And, hopefully we get some, more videos soon. So, until then, bye-bye.